Coffee isn't just a drink. Well, at least not anymore. Consumption of coffee has become a social lubricant, a part of our culture, even in Britain. Coffee's consumption has sprung into a set of traditions and social behaviors. So it's not a surprise that, especially in bigger cities, in urban centers, you can see more than one coffee shop in just walking distance. As you can imagine, there are multiple reasons for why this has happened, why coffee has become a social lubricant. If we were making this video just for Americans, we could have summed up the whole reason for the popularity of coffee in a single short paragraph. Boston Party in 1773, our colonist friends from across the pond rebelled against King George III's tea tax. This resulted in the popularity of coffee and other drinks. But for the rest of the world, the popularity of coffee has taken a bit longer. In fact, it has taken 6 centuries for coffee to reach the point that it is at today. Even though coffee roasting in its modern form has been around since the 13th century, the modern popularity of coffee can be traced back to Turkey in the 16th century. The early drinkers of coffee believed in the medicinal powers of this liquid.
Actually, Roden quotes one newspaper Edward in 1657 that described the drink as having many excellent virtues, closes the orifice of the stomach, fortifies the heart within, helpeth digestion, quickeneth the spirits.
So during this time, coffee was not just a social lubricant. It was also a reason for getting together, for having artistic and intellectual conversations.
Moving on to the 17th and 18th centuries, coffee houses in London became popular among the creative and educated of the time. Artists, writers, and socialites engaged in political debate and even commercial activity at these locations. And some coffee houses even birthed the financial institutions we still turn to today. The insurance company, Lloyd's of London, for instance, emerged from the Lloyd's coffee shop in the 18th century, where sailors and merchants would meet to discuss their affairs. And European settlers would also come to introduce the plant to their colonies in Asia and South America. Portugal brought coffee to Brazil, France to Vietnam, and Spain to Colombia.
In fact, coffee still remains vital to these countries' economies, and as such, Brazil, Vietnam, and Colombia are the three biggest producers of raw coffee to this day.
Next, in the 19th century, a coffee house culture developed in Vienna, which we now refer to as the Viennese Coffee House, and this later spread throughout Central Europe. In these Viennese coffee houses, scientists and artists met in the special microcosm. Here, they discussed new projects, theories, and polished their worldviews. We may have these coffee houses to thank for the social progressiveness we have come to expect from being a European. A little later, Paris, in the first half of the 20th century, played a role in the development of cafe society, in essence, the description of being deemed fashionable. Literally, the constructed and perceived image associated today with being a Parisian is an idea of which later spread to New York and London, morphing into their own distinct identities.
Today, even countries like China and Britain, which have traditionally preferred tea, are coming around to coffee. As a sign of its growth, consider this. Starbucks opened their first store in Beijing in 1999. Today, they open a new store every 15 hours. Whereas most people were drinking instant coffee in China until recently, the younger generation is buying more into the trend of artisan coffees and want to go into trendy places to consume their coffee socially. Coming back to why this has happened, the overall reason for coffee's consumption and popularity is quite simple. When organizing a social gathering, it can be hard to find something which is acceptable for everyone, whether it's people's diets or personal choices, or the pub is too early for some people to be socially acceptable. A coffee is always an easier option for everyone to agree on. Even if coffee isn't your thing, the modern coffee places have multiple options that you can choose from. Not only this, coffee places have spent more money into their interior, for example, which brings in a social appeal. That means that people sometimes just hang out in coffee places, with some cafes even looking like giant living rooms with nice sofas and amazing chairs. People just want to hang out in there. Many social influences of coffee can also be seen outside the coffee shop. For example, the modern workplace is taking a lot from the coffee culture.
As a welcome supplement to the office water cooler, The coffee pot has been proven not only to increase social interaction between workers, but boosts productivity as a direct result. Coffee breaks allow co-workers to talk on a professional and personal basis, helping to increase office morale through workforce synergy and improve performance overall. As well as this, younger employees tend to favor a more relaxed work environment with comfortable seating and opportunities for collaboration.
So it is no surprise that modern businesses are creating offices which are more open for collaborations and even look like coffee places themselves. In fact, according to Nespresso, where they collected data from 3,000 businesses,
53% of employees who regularly consume high quality coffee said they have had at least one creative idea during coffee breaks. 67% of employees agree that they feel more productive after a coffee break. 69% say having at least one coffee a day with a colleague is important to them. 72% stated that taking a coffee break with their manager also helps develop a stronger working relationship. 75% of employees agree that having high quality coffee available shows that their employer cares for their well being. 81% of those who drink higher quality coffee at work intend to be at the current company in 2 years' time. 81% of those surveyed said coffee breaks help build stronger relationships with colleagues. 83% of staff working for a company with over 20 employees believe coffee breaks with colleagues help relieve stress. 90% of employees who regularly drink high quality coffee feel motivated to do their best at work.
in fact, employees who take at least one coffee break during a day report higher levels of physical and mental well being. All these positives are not just limited to employees themselves. We are starting to see the positives going out of the business.
77% of employees across a variety of sectors think that serving high quality coffee in the office is important for clients and visitors.
So I was in the police, and before my time, about 20, 30 years ago, the police at their force headquarters had a bar, and that was a catalyst of bringing people together and also another way of bonding the team.
In the business world, a Friday evening drink is how you would form relationships. However, how businesses form relationships have been changing. We need more touch points to form that relationship. And if you have to keep drinking beer to do that, it's not good for your business or liver.
So in the previous video, we saw that there is a trend towards coffee shops and the reasons why. You could check that out there. But from a perspective of coffee, we know that our strongest relationships in business started with our first cup of coffee.
Video and traditional calls have a place, but still do not create the depth as sitting in a physical space, reading each other's body language and sipping a coffee.
Now, as a digital marketing company, we're not saying this, we love data, and it's something that we've reflected on in the past, and we have seen that our business increases, our revenue increases as we have more coffees.
Looking at our monthly finances, months where we spent more on coffee meetings, there is an increase in business. We reached a point where it became unsustainable to keep having coffee in Starbucks. We calculated that in a couple of months, we could have a barista and still save money whilst achieving even more with the coffee that we will be consuming with our clients and associates.
Not only do we get the clients, potential clients or individuals, connections to come into the office, we actually give them a mug to go away, and it's something physical to remember us by. But we understand that this idea has its limitations, which is where it has to evolve to go to the next stage. Coffee meetings by themselves can be unproductive. They're not structured. And this is where we've been able to allow relationships to go to the next stage by inviting individuals to come and work from the office for a day, and over coffee or during lunch, we would catch up. So we're in a serviced office where connections have to book a meeting with us into the diary. But here's an idea. What if we were on the high street and our connections could just come in, network with us, and have a cup of coffee? And that's exactly what we're looking to do. Develop a business hub, bringing people together to form relationships to the next level. Come and join us on our journey and see where we can take this idea in the next year or two. I'm Ahmad saying,
And I'm Taseer Ahmad. You just saw us making a cup of coffee in the background. Here we are. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and all that beautiful stuff. Please do connect with us on LinkedIn if you really like us. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers.